What happens when the darkness doesn't just creep, it surges, swallowing your world whole, turning neighbors into nightmares, skies into voids, and the love you swore to protect into a venomous trap? In the final stand against an ancient evil, salvation isn't won with courage, it's carved from the raw, wrenching sacrifice of everything you are. Will you pay the price, or let the abyss claim it all? Welcome to the shattering crescendo of Midnight Mummers, where fear binds us across continents, from Mumbai's monsoon-drenched alleys to Moscow's frost-bitten shadows. Echoes of the Abyss reaches its heart-stopping finale, weaving the raw terror of Tennessee's Bell Witch, a malevolent force that devoured a family's legacy, into a tale of explosive mystery and gut-punch emotion. Crafted for our global audience craving the pulse-pounding dread of films like Hereditary or Kuntilanik, this episode delivers a payoff that'll leave you theorizing long after the lights go out. If the doppelgangers stole your trust, this ending will rip your soul apart. Buckle up for the Void's final verdict. Episode 5, Abyss Eternal. Sunrise should have been a relief, but in Eldridge Hollow, it birthed pandemonium. As Alex, Mia, and Dr. Elias Crow sped away from the crumbling Abyss Manor, the town convulsed like a body rejecting poison. Shadows erupted from storm drains, coiling like smoke serpents, their forms flickering between human and something other. On Main Street, a baker, Mr. Thompson, whose apple pies Mia had raved about, turned on his wife, his eyes black pools, murmuring, "Join the chorus." She screamed, fleeing into the dawn, but the shadows followed, slithering into her reflection in a shop window. Cars swerved into trees, drivers clawing at their faces as if to peel away invisible leeches. Alex's phone buzzed with alerts, mass hysteria reported in Eldridge Hollow. Evacuations underway, but he knew better. This wasn't madness, it was the Abyss, unchained, its rift bleeding into reality like ink into water, devouring light and sanity. They barricaded themselves in Crow's Archive, a deconsecrated chapel on the town's outskirts, its weathered stone walls etched with wards that glowed faintly under the rising sun. Inside, pews were shoved aside, replaced by sprawling maps and occult texts, blueprints of global convergences, from the Winchester Mystery House's spirit-trapping staircases to Peru's ancient doorways to Superi underworlds, realms of the damned. Crow, his scarred face gaunt under the flickering lantern light, rasped, "It's metastasizing." Eleanor's unbound, a poltergeist like the Bell Witch, but worse, a psychic cancer feeding on trauma. To cauterize it, we return to the prime fracture, the manor's core mirror. But we need an anchor, a relic forged in joy's fire, something stronger than grief or fear. Mia's hand trembled as she slipped it into her pocket, pulling out a platinum ring with a single emerald, its facets catching the light like a trapped star. She bought it in secret, planning a proposal under the northern lights, a dream now tainted by the Abyss's shadow. "This is our future," she whispered, her voice steel despite the tears carving tracks down her dirt-streaked face. Alex's chest tightened. Real-world stories flooded his mind, tales of couples in haunted B&Bs vowing love through apparitions, their bonds piercing the gloom like lighthouses in a storm. This ring, their unspoken promise, was their weapon. They moved at dusk, infiltrating the manor amid chaos that felt ripped from a Romero flick, but subtler, more insidious. Townsfolk shambled through Eldridge's streets, their gates off-kilter, reciting regrets in voices not their own. A mother whispering her failure to save a sick child, a shopkeeper confessing theft from his own till. The manor loomed, its facade pulsating with unnatural life, walls veined with black ichor, windows weeping condensation that smelled of decay. Inside, corridors looped into mazes reminiscent of the Bell Witch's cursed cabin, where rooms rearranged to trap the unwary. Apparitions assailed them, spectral images of Elias Blackwood flogging laborers, their screams harmonizing with global echoes, a Japanese salaryman's Onryo wail, a Mexican bruja's curse, each a note in the Abyss's symphony of despair. The air grew thick, heavy with the metallic tang of blood and ozone, as they descended to the core chamber. The prime mirror had reformed, colossal and menacing, its surface not glass but a liquid void, rippling with malevolent intent. The entity manifested fully, a leviathan of fused shades, Eleanor's face at its center, contorted in rapturous agony, her eyes twin voids that sucked at their souls. Tentacles of shadow lashed out, each strike a psychic assault. Crow parried with relic shards, splinters of blackwood scrying glass, glowing with rune-etched power, his burned scars flaring as if reignited by the entity's touch. Mia played her part with desperate cunning, weaving illusions of surrender to draw the creature near. She stood before it, trembling but defiant, offering whispered pleas that mimicked submission. "Take me, end this." The entity lunged, distracted, while Alex circled, the ring clutched so tightly it bit into his palm, drawing blood. But the abyss struck first, pseudopods pinning Crow to the ground, their touch seeping into his mind. They whispered his deepest loss, a daughter's overdose, her memory buried beneath years of academic obsession. "Worthless. As I was," the voices hissed, her face flickering in the shadows. Crow faltered, his chant stuttering, but then roared, "Not anymore." He shattered a tendril with a shard, buying precious seconds, blood streaming from his nose as the effort drained him. The entity turned on Alex, flooding his mind with visions of Lena's death, not a coyote's attack, as the police claimed, but a rift's pull, her small soul snared in the fog near the manor all those years ago. "Abandon her," it bellowed, her childlike form materializing, accusing eyes boring into him. Guilt surged, a supernova of pain. "I was a kid. But I carry you, Lena, every day, every step." Mia faced her own torment, a spectral crib, an infant's wail accusing, unfit. "You let me die." Her voice broke, cathartic rage spilling out. "I mourned you, little one. I broke, but I choose life now." Their truths intertwined, a raw, pulsating force. The ring glowed in Alex's hand, its emerald flaring like a beacon. He hurled it into the mirror's heart, the metal striking with a sound like a cathedral bell tolling doom. The shatter point came in a blinding instant, fissures spiderwebbing across the glass, the entity convulsing in a banshee howl that shook the manor's foundations. Light erupted, a radiant pulse that seared the shadows, forcing them back like a receding tide. Eldridge's gloom lifted, the possessed townsfolk blinking awake, amnesiac, as if waking from a collective nightmare. The rift sealed with a thunderclap, the manor's frame cracking like an eggshell, dust and debris raining down. Exhausted, they stumbled into the dawn, the air crisp with the promise of renewal. Crow, bloodied but breathing, clasped their hands, his voice hoarse but steady. "You anchored it, with what endures, love stronger than death." Mia and Alex stood amid the rubble, the ring now shared on chains around their necks, its emerald dulled but warm against their skin. "We survived," Mia said, her voice soft but certain, though her eyes held faint shadows, echoes, perhaps, that would never fully fade. They drove south, the manor shrinking in the rear view, Eldridge Hollow stirring back to life. Birdsong replaced the wails, distant all-clears crackling over radios. But in the quiet moments, as the city skyline loomed closer, Alex wondered, had they truly trapped the abyss, or had they brought a sliver home? The whispers had faded to wind, mostly. Yet, at a gas station stop, Mia lingered by the car, staring at her reflection in the window. When she turned back, her smile was hers, warm, familiar, but for a split second, her shadow lagged, moving independently, its edges curling like a smirk. Weeks later, life crept toward normalcy. Mia returned to teaching, her laughter with students brighter, though her gaze sometimes drifted to mirrors they'd long since removed from the loft. Alex buried himself in design work, but late at night, he traced the ring's chain, feeling its weight like a tether to the past. Eldridge healed, news reports called it a mass delusion event, a tidy explanation for an untidy horror. But in their quiet moments, Alex and Mia confided in hushed tones, dreams of corridors that shouldn't exist, faint murmurs in the dark, a sense that the abyss had left a mark, not on the world, but on them. They'd won, but at a cost. Some voids, once opened, never fully close. And yet, they chose to live. They planned that Northern Lights proposal, a defiant act of hope. But as they booked flights, a chill lingered, a question unanswered. If the abyss could mimic love, could it mimic healing too? In the stillness of their loft, as moonlight spilled across the floor, a single photograph fell from the album, unnoticed. Lena, smiling, her eyes replaced with inky voids. And thus concludes Echoes of the Abyss, a tapestry of terror woven from real haunts and human heartaches. Thank you for joining Midnight Mummers on this harrowing journey. If this series clawed into your core, smash that like button, subscribe for more Midnight Confessions, and drop in the comments which moment haunted you most. What nightmare should we unravel next? Until the shadows call again, from Midnight Mummers, sleep with one eye open.